Seems there was this young medical student who had just been assigned his very first human cadaver for study. And his specific assignment was to locate and identify and remove the spleen. And his professor gets him started and walks away from him to take care of other students in the class. And the student goes to work, and the professor's keeping his eye on him across the room. And he sees the young man looking more and more distraught and concerned and frantic, and what's going on? So professor goes back over to him, and there in the specimen dish is a perfectly good spleen. So, okay, that's cool. We're doing it right. But the young man is still frantically working, and the professor says, "What's the matter? What's going on?" And this young man, with terror in his voice, says, "Professor, I can't find the other one." Thank you. Wow. All right. So my point is, obviously, there's only one spleen, right? All right. But we're still digging. Okay? My title today is, What Am I Missing? And the science of mind answer to that question is not a darn thing. But we're still searching. We think there's something wrong, there's something lacking, there's something less than about who we are. So we're out there trying to make ourselves complete from the outside in. When the truth is, if there's only one life, call it God, call it Spirit, give it any name that works for you, that one life is pouring all of itself into all of its creation all the time. Its own wholeness it is gifting us with all the time. Because if there's only one, then we are divine, beloved, unique individuations of that one. So we can't be less than. That's the truth. Ernest Holmes, founder of religious science, puts it this way: there is a secret place of the Most High within us, and we may consciously repair to it by merely knowing that we are already there. This is the place where the universe meets us in its wholeness, without any restriction whatsoever. This is the place where the all delivers everything that it is to us. Our loneliness, our isolation, our poverty, doubt, and sickness are results of being disconnected from the fullness of this divine self. We wish to become whole, and we cannot become whole while our consciousness isolates us from the principle of wholeness. And I would say it's not that we need to become whole, it's that we need to remember we're already whole. But we do that with how we think about ourselves. And our culture really, really reinforces the not wholeness. It really works to remind us that all of us are walking around thinking we're less than. I mean, look at our love songs. Please get over here, you complete me, I'll die without you. Okay? What if an intimate relationship was two whole people who were so excited and enthused and engaged in their own wholeness that they wanted to share it with each other? What would that look like? Well, I tell you, I know a few couples that operate like that, and oh my goodness, it's a beautiful thing. I want that. But it's not just relationships. Look at all the TV ads for, as soon as I have that red sports car on that winding road, then I'll feel like who I am. As soon as I close on the house of my dreams, then I'll know who I am. And I'll come back to that a moment later because you did it right. Boy, did you do it right. Where are you? There you are. Thank you. Yeah. As soon as I have the right number of zeros behind the leading digit in my bank account, then I'll be okay. That's backwards, though. That's taking something outside ourselves and saying, as soon as I'm that, or I have that, then I'm enough. And the doing it right, there's this opposite to that I want to insert here. That's not about being not enough. And that's something Emerson called divine discontent. And that is not something out there needs to come in, but that's something in here needs to express out. And that's that itch that, yeah, I need this, I'm doing this, I will feel complete if I express myself out into it. Great example of that is Thomas Edison. Just being grateful for every failure, for all those attempts to invent the light bulb. Knowing he had an idea, he knew he'd get there, and it was, thousands of trials before the success. That was from the inside out. Your house was from the inside out. You had a vision. My ministerial school is from the inside out. And now it's turning into my ministry. Because everything, I thought I was going to graduate in June of 2018. Everything's speeding up. Everything's compressing. It's looking like summer of 2017 now. Wow. That's fun. But opposite of divine discontent is the I'm not enough. And that's what I'm really talking about today. There's too many pieces of paper. A quote from Dennis Merritt Jones. Spiritual perfection is an inherent part of each of us. It is never diminished by conditions. With an awareness of this truth comes the wholeness of spirit that enables us to accept the moment at hand as perfect, just the way it is, knowing that nothing is ever missing in God's presence. Our job is to cease judging by appearances and start knowing the truth. Will knowing the truth automatically change or fix that which we have previously labeled as imperfect? Understanding the power of affirmative mind, it may. But even if it doesn't, it won't really matter because we will have ceased judging ourselves as well as others as less than whole. Wholeness is a natural part of the sacred continuum. That journey of spirit navigating its way through the human experience as you and me. Dr. B. Alan Wallace is a scholar of Buddhism. He was a translator for the Dalai Lama. He tells the story of a conference for cognitive scientists in the U.S. in 1990, whose topic was loving kindness and compassion, led by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And in one question and answer period, one of the participants asked about her own practice. She said, so just, I want to confirm that I'm doing this right. She said, with all the self-denigration and self-judgment and not enough and not good enough that we carry around inside us, I have found for myself that it's useful to practice loving kindness work towards myself before I try and spread it out into the world. And is that okay? Am I doing it right? And Dr. Wallace translated for His Holiness. And His Holiness looked a little confused and said, could you rephrase the question? And Dr. Wallace tried again, and His Holiness looked even more confused, said, excuse me for a moment, walked over to a group of his compatriots and said, they're telling me about this mental construct as if everybody's got it, and I don't know what they're talking about. Have you experienced this? And he explains it, and those monks start to look confused. And His Holiness eventually comes back to the questioner and he says, I am so sorry. I had no idea this was the load you were carrying. And if in fact this is what you all think about yourselves, then for goodness sakes, do loving kindness for yourselves first. Apparently, Tibetan Buddhists don't have this concept. Not enough isn't on their radar. They did not understand the question. And I take such power from that, such hope, because it tells me that we may all think that way, but it's not natural. It's not our nature. It's learned. And Science of Mind teaches us if we can learn something and practice it, we can unlearn it, substitute a different, higher, clearer, better thought, and practice that in our lives. So that's the job at hand here, folks. That's not our nature. Wholeness is our nature. And how do we do that? One suggestion from Ernest Holmes: if one would take time once a day at least to let go of all that is not true and lay hold of reality, capital R. Let go of doubt, distrust, worry, condemnation, and fear, and lay hold of life, capital L, life, in its expressions of beauty, truth, and wholeness, his mental congestion would be healed. All right. One way I personally do it, I carry a song around inside me, kind of like a mantra affirmation. It's a song by Lydia Clark, singer-songwriter, currently music director of the Santa Fe Center for Spiritual Living. And she came into our movement as our music director. So she was trying to play catch up and learn what we were thinking and talking about. And she watched a Michael Beckwith video, and it burst her open and created this song. It's called Divine Vessel. The words are really simple. It's, I am here, I am enough, I am a living divine vessel. I let go of limited perception. Nothing is missing in me. I want to teach that to you. Let's take it one line at a time. Repeat after me. I am here. I am enough. I am a living divine vessel. I let go of limited perception. Nothing is missing in me. Nothing is missing in me. Yeah. Wholeness is the truth of who we are. Always has been, always will be. Anything less than that is something that we have decided and laid on top of it and hidden that truth that's always true, that's alive within us. Let's take that into treatment, shall we? Close your eyes if that's comfortable. I know the one life that is the only life is whole. Whole, complete, and perfect. And we call it so many names. We call it God, we call it Spirit, we call it love, we call it light. It answers to every one of those names and is more than all those names rolled up together. And if there is only one life, then my life is in the midst of that, surrounded by it, infused by it, in me, through me, as me, life loving being itself. Life being whole. I know that's the truth of my life. I know it's the truth of every life, every person in this room, every person in our hearts that we love and wish well toward. Every person on the planet that we, even those we may not like very much, it's still their truth. And we know it for them now, and we bless them in it. And we feel how that loosens us up as we just come to that feeling and that knowing. And so in this knowing, I speak my word right now, that wholeness is the truth of my being, of our being, of every being. The wholeness that is always enough, that is always good enough, that is always seeking to express itself outward into our outer experience. So that we can just let go of needing something outside us to come in. And we just know that the truth of ourselves is mirrored back to us in all the outer good we can imagine. This is how we participate in the world. This is how we greet each day, each morning, each evening. Nothing is missing in me. Wholeness is the truth of my being. And I am so grateful for what that feels like inside. To recognize that truth that has always been true. And I am so grateful for how that shows up in my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions and my outer experience. What is being attracted to me to play this wonderful, delightful, enriching, fulfilling game of wholeness on the planet with me now. And so in gratitude, I release this word. I let it go. I let it be. I know it is already so. And so it is. Thank you.